Welcome, coin collectors and treasure hunters, to HD Old Coins 51. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the iconic USA wheat penny, a small coin with a huge story. Some are common, some are rare, and a few could be worth thousands. Is there a hidden treasure sitting in your pocket? Let's find out together. Top 1. In the thick shadows of a world inching toward the chaos of World War II, a small copper coin passed from hand to hand in the United States, silent, unassuming, and seemingly insignificant. It was the year 1941. Franklin D. Roosevelt was in the White House. The Great Depression was beginning to fade, and the nation was watching Europe burn from a cautious distance. It was a time of tension, of transition, and of stories waiting to be told, stories even whispered by something as small as a 1-cent piece. Among millions of coins struck by the U.S. Mint that year, the 1941 wheat penny was born, a modest token of everyday life, yet destined to become a prized artifact for collectors and historians alike. Made of humble bronze, it bore the image of a man who had held the country together through its darkest hour, Abraham Lincoln. His portrait had already been etched on American coinage for over 3 decades by 1941, yet with every passing year, the pennies minted in his honor seemed to carry fresh echoes of the nation's journey. But what makes the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny stand apart? What gives this coin its value beyond a single cent? To understand that, we have to travel back, not just to the coin's year of birth, but to its very soul, the details of its design, the hands that shaped it, the mints that pressed it into existence, and the historical whirlwind it quietly endured. Victor David Brenner, a Lithuanian-born sculptor and engraver, was the artist behind the coin's design. Commissioned during the presidency of Theodore Roosevelt, Brenner was tasked with crafting a portrait of Lincoln that would honor the 100th anniversary of the 16th president's birth in 1909. The design, with Lincoln's bust facing right, marked the first time a real person, and specifically a president, had ever graced the front of a U.S. coin. Until then, American coins were more symbolic, featuring figures like Lady Liberty. But Brenner's design broke new ground, setting a precedent that still defines American coinage. Flip the penny over, and you'll see 2 stylized wheat stalks curving inward from either side, enclosing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Just above that, the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. That reverse design, simple yet elegant, gave the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. By 1941, the Lincoln Wheat Penny had already become a staple of pocket change. It was minted in vast numbers, with 3 major mints producing them: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck over 887 million pennies that year. Denver followed with around 128 million, and San Francisco contributed about 92 million. These numbers meant the 1941 penny was not rare, at least, not at first glance. But not all pennies are created equal. Among those hundreds of millions are variations, condition differences, and even errors that transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Some 1941 pennies were struck off-center, others with double dice, where letters or numbers appear twice due to misalignment during minting. These peculiarities, along with high-grade examples preserved in pristine condition, are where the true value lies. Imagine holding a 1941 penny that still glimmers with the original luster of its bronze alloy. No scratches, no wear, just a flawless portrait of Lincoln and those proud wheat stalks on the reverse. Coins like these, graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch hundreds of dollars. And if there's an error, say, a dramatic double die or an unusual strike, the price can skyrocket. Take, for instance, a particularly stunning 1941 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny that sold at Heritage Auctions in Dallas, Texas. This gem, graded MS-67 plus red, commanded a staggering $4,230 in 2021. Why? Because it was near perfect. A coin struck more than 80 years ago, somehow surviving wars, recessions, and generations of human hands, yet still as sharp and vibrant as the day it left the mint. And then there's the tale of a 1941 S penny, equally preserved, which went under the hammer at Stack's Bowers in Costa Mesa, California. This example, in an ultra-rare state of preservation, drew bids from all corners of the globe. It ultimately sold for $3,960, further proving that rarity isn't always about how many were made. It's about how few survived in exceptional condition. Collectors today hunt for these coins not just for their beauty or monetary value, but for the stories they tell. Holding a 1941 wheat penny is like gripping a sliver of American history, a piece of metal that might have ridden in a soldier's pocket, clinked in a soda shop's cash register, or been dropped into a child's piggy bank during the lead-up to the war. This coin is more than copper. It's a relic, a storyteller, a witness to a turning point in human history. And in the vast landscape of numismatics, the study and collecting of currency, it's a gateway for new enthusiasts and a cornerstone for veteran collectors alike. Top 2. In the heart of post-war America, amidst the hum of industry and the spirit of resilience, a small yet significant coin found its way into the hands of millions, a simple copper penny dated 1954. But not just any penny. This one carried a mint mark, an unassuming letter that, for collectors today, transforms the coin from pocket change into prized treasure. A relic of a time when gasoline cost mere cents and soda fountains ruled Main Street, the 1954 wheat penny captures more than its face value. It captures a story. Imagine walking down a bustling street in 1954. Perhaps you're a young boy in a wool cap and scuffed shoes, clutching a shiny new penny your father gave you as a reward for helping with chores. You drop it into a vending machine for a stick of gum or a candy bar. Little do you know, that tiny coin, fresh from the Denver or San Francisco mint, will one day be discussed, examined, and even auctioned for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. The wheat penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, had already been in circulation for decades. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, it was revolutionary. For the first time in U.S. history, a real person, America's 16th president, was featured on a coin. The reverse, adorned with two wheat ears, symbolized the prosperity of the nation. And by 1954, this design was in its twilight years, with only 5 more years remaining before the Lincoln Memorial would replace the wheat ears in 1959. The 1954 penny came from 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But it's those from the Denver D and San Francisco S mints that command special attention. The mint marks appear just below the date on the obverse side of the coin, subtle, almost hidden, yet telling a significant story. Each mint produced these coins under different conditions and in varying quantities, which ultimately influences rarity and value. The San Francisco mint, nearing the end of its run producing cents, contributed fewer pieces compared to Denver, adding a layer of desirability to the S mint-marked coins. But what truly excites collectors isn't just the mint mark, it's the condition, the color, the strike, and sometimes the mystery of an error. Some 1954 wheat pennies feature off-center strikes, double dies, or repunched mint marks. These varieties can send a collector's heart racing. Imagine holding a 1954 S wheat penny with a bold repunched mint mark in your gloved hands, its deep red luster still gleaming like it did 7 decades ago. One such coin made headlines not long ago. In an auction held by Heritage Auctions in Dallas, Texas, a pristine, fully red 1954 S wheat penny graded MS67 plus RD by PCGS hammered for a breathtaking $2,300. The crowd watched in silent anticipation as the bids climbed. This wasn't just copper and zinc. It was a portal to a bygone America, a piece of artistry, a slice of history. In the realm of numismatics, such coins are not merely collected, they are revered. And let's not forget about the 1954 D. Though more abundant, some varieties, like the D/D repunched mint mark or those struck with full steps and rich red tone, have reached auction prices of $1,200 or more in top condition. One notable sale occurred at Stacksbowers in California, where a nearly flawless 1954 D cent in blazing red brought collectors to their feet, ultimately selling for $1,050. These numbers remind us that rarity is not always about quantity, it's about quality and the story the coin carries. Each 1954 penny, with its distinct mint mark, carries whispers of its origin. The clang of presses in Denver, the foggy air in San Francisco as molten metal was poured into planchets, the hands that held it over the decades, from bus drivers and bakers to GIs and grandmothers. Each scratch, each shine, each preserved detail, it's all part of a journey that ends in a collector's velvet-lined case or a fiercely competitive auction room. So when you stumble across a 1954 wheat penny, pause and take a closer look. Tilt it in the light. Search for that mint mark. Is it a D? Is it an S? Could it be a high-grade rarity, hidden in plain sight? Or perhaps a beautiful error coin, just waiting to be discovered? 1 cent may have once bought a candy bar, but today, in the right condition and with the right story, it might just buy you a weekend getaway. Top 3. In the waning years of the 1950s, as America stood on the brink of a new era of technological advancement and global influence, a small copper coin circulated quietly in the hands of everyday citizens. This was the 1957 United States 1 cent wheat penny, a coin that, though humble in face value, holds an extraordinary story beneath its bronze surface. From children who tucked it into their piggy banks, to war veterans who used it to pay for a daily newspaper, this penny traveled far and wide. But as with many pieces of currency, time has transformed it from pocket change into a collectible treasure, particularly when a tiny mint mark sets it apart from the rest. The story of the 1957 wheat penny is deeply embedded in American culture. By 1957, the Lincoln Wheat cent had already been in circulation for nearly 5 decades. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this coin was groundbreaking. It was the first U.S. coin to feature the likeness of an actual person. The coin's designer, Victor David Brenner, brought Lincoln to life with subtle elegance on the obverse, while the reverse featured 2 sturdy wheat stalks, symbols of growth, prosperity, and the backbone of American agriculture. The 1957 penny came at a time when the United States was deeply entrenched in the Cold War. It was the same year the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, igniting the space race and changing the trajectory of science and education in the country. The penny, minted in Philadelphia and Denver, served as a quiet witness to this period of tension and transformation. Each 1 cent coin bore Lincoln's steady gaze, the word liberty to his left, and the year 1957 to his right, marked with a small D for Denver or left plain for Philadelphia. That tiny mint mark, no larger than a grain of rice, would come to influence the coin's desirability and value among collectors decades later. Denver, the mile-high city, produced over 1 billion of these coins in 1957, making the D mint mark version by far the more common of the two. But even within such massive numbers, condition, rarity of errors, and historical significance play pivotal roles in setting individual coins apart. Most circulated versions may still only be worth a few cents, but pristine, uncirculated examples, particularly those in MS-67 red condition, are a different story entirely. These coins, kept untouched by time, are as lustrous and brilliant as the day they left the mint. Collectors prize these high-grade specimens, and major auction houses have taken notice. In recent years, several 1957 D Lincoln cents graded MS-67 plus RD by PCGS have sold at impressive figures. For example, at a Heritage Auctions event held in Dallas, Texas, one such coin fetched a stunning $2,640 in a highly competitive auction. The coin's flawless surfaces, vivid red luster, and historical charm made it a standout among seasoned collectors and numismatic enthusiasts. Beyond condition, errors are another fascinating realm for the 1957 D penny. A number of double die obverse have been discovered, where the lettering or date appears slightly offset or doubled due to a misalignment in the die during striking. These error coins are scarce and command strong premiums when certified and authenticated. The thrill of finding such a variety is part of what keeps collectors endlessly fascinated by even the most common of coins. It's not just monetary value that drives interest in the 1957 wheat penny, but also nostalgia. This coin represents a simpler time in American life, a post-war boom, the rise of suburban culture, and the dawn of a television age. It's a time capsule of copper, tin, and zinc. Many baby boomers remember finding them in change, and younger generations often inherit them from relatives who saved them in jars or tucked them away in drawers without ever knowing what they might be worth someday. As the last few years of the wheat penny era unfolded, collectors grew more aware of the coin's lasting impact. The Lincoln Wheat reverse design would be retired just 2 years later, in 1959, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. This transition marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Thus, the 1957 wheat penny stands as one of the final links in a historic chain, connecting the early 20th century's ideals with the modern world to come. From the bustling production floors of the Denver Mint to high-stakes auction floors in cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat cent has journeyed far. It continues to captivate those who understand that history is often found in the smallest of places, tucked in the palm of a hand, jingling in the pocket, or gleaming under a collector's glass. Though millions were made, only a few have stood the test of time in such perfect condition as to fetch thousands of dollars. This penny is more than a coin. It's a witness to history, a work of miniature art, and a reminder that even the most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary stories.